Alright, so here's a board that was played in a B Division match actually earlier today where the players in it didn't really play, probably the board to its potential, and quite frankly didn't even really play an at all competitive strategy. And so what they ended up doing was they, looked at the board and they focused kind of probably on what's our strongest cards here, and the strongest card here, I guess from an overall perspective is Sea Witch, and so you see Sea Witch can curse. If you get a couple of them, can really curse quickly and potentially overwhelm your opponent. Plus 2 cards each turn. It'll sift well for you, but the curses are going to go into deck, and if you look around, we have rats for trashing, but that doesn't actually really net lower the amount of cards in your deck, and so Sea Witch seems pretty dang dominant here. So once we go along, we have the game, we play our Sea Witches, there's 10 curses out and about. Game's pretty ugly at that point. We still have lots of coppers in really our states around too. And so at that point, you're guessing that you're not really going to have control, and so things like Buried Treasure, Hoard, Gardens really come into play, trying to just stuff treasure into the deck, hit what price points you can, and really end the game from there. Probably going to be a 3 pile and a mirror, Gardens, Duchies, Gardens Estates, Curses, maybe Buried Treasures, whatever. It's an ugly game, and that's how it ended up being. Now, I'm going to say that you want to go ahead and skip Sea Witch, just completely here. Why? We kind of glossed over when we were talking about the curses as rats being something that doesn't really decrease your deck size, but in this case, the thing that rats offers is actually good enough, which is turning those things into rats. And the reason it's good enough is, there's a kind of a classic synergy here in City Quarter. And so City Quarter, just because it's reveal your hand plus 1 card per action card revealed, you don't actually really care that the total deck size isn't decreasing. You only care that those things are turning into actions and rats. And so City Quarter rats, that'll allow you to draw. That really covers the trashing. There is a problem here though. And that's like, you're having these curses come in, you're trashing them all, and suddenly you find yourself, along with your starting cards, and suddenly you find yourself with 15 rats, which is a lot of rats. And what it means is that at the start of your turn, you're definitely looking at problems. 15 rats, you're not going to have more than like 3 City Quarters by the time that happens, maybe 4 if you're lucky. You could go a couple turns without actually kicking off, and so fortunately, this board also has something else going on it, which is Highwayman, and the start of your turn plus 3 cards. Well, that solves your problem right there. You can have 15 rats in the deck. You can draw 8, 9 of them, but as long as you draw 1 City Quarter from there, you are off. And so you'll get 1 Highwayman, 2 Highwaymen out. Have all your rats, have limited number of City Quarters. You can still really kick off. And so City Quarter, rats, Highwayman, that's going to make up your draw. Then what are you looking for? You're looking for payload. The Sea Witch deck had its payload covered in Buried Treasure, Hoard. That's probably, quite frankly, good enough for this deck to beat up on the Sea Witch, but there's something even better here in Market Square. Besides being plus buy, rats, again, it doesn't decrease your deck size, but it does trash, and that's enough to trigger Market Squares, get you gold. And so Market Square, you get 5 of them, you have a drawn deck. You can really make a lot of money really fast, using Market Square. And so really just these 4 cards, City Quarter, Highway, and Market Square rats, that's going to be enough to beat up the Sea Witch deck, just completely. I think that's enough that the draws don't matter. And then really, Just to top it off, we have Landmark and Tomb, which is making it so that, as you're going along with this deck, just kind of normally as you would, you're going to get 15, 16 free points out of playing your rats. And so, this really puts it over the top to where it's almost unimaginable that this deck can lose to something that's really focused on Sea Witch. So, we've said that, but let's go ahead and watch it happen. You can see I'm playing against also me, over there in the first player seat. And they're just gonna play, or I guess I'm gonna play out of it. I'm gonna play, Sea Witch money. It's gonna be focused on Sea Witches. It's gonna go ahead and would really like to open Sea Witch, but since it can't, it's gonna open double silver, really trying to hit that 5. Start getting Sea Witches, and hopefully it'll actually hit double 5. You can see this is like the third game, and often when I do these, we're talking like 70-30 or 60-40, and I have to do a little bit of jiggling sometimes, both for what I actually say, but in this case, both of these games were actually just looking way too uncompetitive at all. And so, just starting over on this side, we said we're going to skip Sea Witch. Sea Witch is not a necessary card for this deck. What I'm going to do, is I'm going to actually go ahead and try to hit 5 also. Just in my case, it's going to be for Highwayman. You can probably also reasonably open rats right here. But I'm just going to start by going after the Highwayman right away. We see in this one that the other side is hitting 5 for Sea Witch, which is a really good thing. And actually, it's going to hit the double 5, so it gets to have draws that it probably can't complain about. But we're not into Sea Witch over here. We're buying our Highwayman. And actually, I have this double 5 too, and I'm actually going to, rather than buy rats, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy a second Highwayman. Just try to, not even really for the attack. The attack is pretty effective against a money deck, but just to kind of try to keep the cycling going early. Seeing 2 here is quite bad, although I can see on the other side, not pictured here, that the Sea Witches ended up colliding. Our Highwayman ended up colliding. That's life. And I'm gonna go ahead and have the other side buy Buried Treasure. I don't think a third Sea Witch really makes sense at this point. Over here, happy to play a Highwayman. And we have 4, now it's time to pick up our rats. We are gonna want them, especially with the curses starting to come in. The other side had its Sea Witches collide again, but now it's just gonna pick up the third. So again, this is probably not another good case of good draws, but let's play it through. Rats, trash. Actually, we're looking at 9 coins right here. Normally, it's like you kind of want to wait on city quarters until you've built up economy a bit more, pay them off right away. But in this case, we have our city quarter. We're going to be playing a Highwayman next turn. We have 2 rats in here. Let's just go ahead and grab it. Again, probably not the most ideal thing ever to be seeing 2 here. We're kind of failing to pick up plus buy, but given that next turn we think is going to be good, let's go ahead and pick up another city quarter right now. You can see the other side grab its Hoard. Well, this is quite frankly awful. You definitely don't want to see the city quarter without anything else. But again, it's so just totally fine. This is not something to be panicked about at all. Other side's going to pick up another Hoard, and now it's going to start greening. Go ahead and get the plus buy in there with the market square. So actually, the other side over here has the opportunity to do a bit better than maybe just a province. It'll actually pick up something like Buried Treasure Gardens to kind of keep its plus buy going. We continue to not see the greatest draws over here, but again, it's okay. These things happen. We're still producing points. The other side started greening, but we're actually almost even with it. I'm going to go ahead and actually grab another market square here. We don't think we're going to draw through on the next turn, just because we don't have a Highwayman coming in. So here we go. Other side's going to be really into these gardens. I'm more doing the gardens because of how it was played before, rather than maybe what is good now. But I'm hoping next turn on this side will start being good. Having 5 cards there is actually really favorable because it means the Highwayman will go back into the shuffle. I think the best thing to do here is probably just actually to grab another city quarter and really make sure that we draw through next turn. Other side is certainly going well. Gonna have it pick up a province. It's really just money. It could keep picking up gardens, but at this point, like, if it keeps grabbing gardens, there's nothing really that's gonna pile. It's like cursed gardens, maybe rats from us eventually, but there's not really another thing that it can really point at and say, you know, this is gonna pile. You can see drawing through here. I'm actually gonna play out, I think, both of these market squares. We really want to get to the 2 Highwaymen because that'll make us effective. And right now, like if I rats trash something, discard market square, we're not actually going to draw back around to it, so there's not really a point. But you can see taking out these curses is 2 points and really doing quite well. There's 4 rats in there. I'm not really sure that they want to end up on top, so let's go ahead and stop here. Pay off 3 debt, pick up 2 market squares, city quarter, and we should be running well next turn, or at least we hope we are. Other side, you know, Gardens Estate maybe. Maybe it's going to try to pile Gardens Estate. It would be a really good thing to find a city quarter sooner rather than later. This could be pretty bad. In fact, it is going to be pretty bad. We are eating through quite a bit, but this is a pretty catastrophic turn. I'm going to go ahead and just pick up another city quarter. I mean, I have faith. I know that the other side's like so wholly uncompetitive, but this is not a good run over here. Let's go ahead. And I mean, even not a good run. You know, we didn't have any Highwaymen coming in. We're still going to draw like completely fully. So maybe don't believe me when I say it's going poorly, or this is just what going poorly looks like. I think we can react 2 of these. That was mostly correct. I'll just play the 2 Highwaymen. You can see we're up to, 17 rats? Pretty close to ending the game, actually. 6 golds. I'll just stick in, 2 more market squares, 2 city quarters, and actually this is going to end up being probably a win next turn. So, just have the other side, grab 2 gardens. It makes it easier to win on this side, but I'll not pile gardens just to show that it could have been done otherwise. So rats, all the market squares, draw back, rats. We're not going to be using Highwaymen anymore. This is the last turn, right? All the market squares, rats, all the market squares. Look at that, we piled gold. No need to be playing more rats. Play out the market squares. And, yeah, that's actually happens to be enough for all the provinces, so we'll just go ahead and win that way. It wasn't, I'm gonna say, the prettiest way to go ever, but, prettiest run ever. You know, I've been seeing in my test games things like 13 turns instead of 16, but you know, this other deck, I think it actually did pretty well this game. It's just not at all really a thing that is competitive. And you know, in a mirror, you almost directly don't want Sea Witch because that's just feeding people points. You could see the curses were fairly low impact, even though opponent, picked up 3 sea witches pretty early. Probably wasn't the greatest draws for picking out curses, but there were some bad ones for the city quarter deck in the middle too, and it just didn't matter. The deck is that good, it's that strong. You saw it bought 7 provinces, and that's the way this board is. It's not Sea Witch money. It's this big thing, and hopefully that makes it so that when there's City Quarter, Rats, Market Square, Highwayman in the future, you don't fall for the Sea Witch money, or really probably any of those 3 components is good enough. So that's that board, and I'll see you all.